Hey everyone, welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Ashley Mova, and this is the daily show where we give you all of the latest news from the world of movies, plus a little bit of insight into what it all means. Joining us as always, AMC Movie News Editor-in-Chief, John Campea.
Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the show, coming to you live from right here at the Stream.tv studios here in Hollywood, California. We are so glad you decided to make us part of your day.
Also here, writer-director John Schnepp.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Friday, it's time to get your weekend going. That's my song for today.
Oh yeah. Also here, one half of Schmoes Know, Christian Harloff.
I love the way you introed that, by the way, because I'm like, wait, that's very subdued for you. There's the song.
Well, with Batman vs. Superman now getting close to finishing shooting, actor Ben Affleck had a chance to sit down with EW recently to talk about playing the iconic role and the process he went through when deciding if he should join the film or not. He said the following: "Before I took the role, Warner Brothers gave me a bunch of past reactions to casting and said, 'Are you sure you want to get into this? This is part and parcel of these movies now. There's a lot of active fans with a lot of opinions. To me, having been through a certain amount of that, it doesn't really... Everyone's entitled to their opinion. I wouldn't have taken the part if I didn't trust my instincts in terms of the filmmaking. I think Chris Terrio wrote a terrific script, Zach's a great visual director, and there's an interesting take. I wouldn't have done it if I didn't think I could do it. I have the benefit of a lot of that understanding." John, what do you think of Affleck's comments?
It's really interesting to look at comments like these now that we are so far removed from when he was initially announced, right? It's kind of neat now looking back at it. And it is also really interesting to see that in the context we're in now, a lot of that really negative backlash is pretty much quelled out. I mean, it's quieted down. I mean, there's still people who don't like the casting, and that's fair enough. But that whole outrage that all came, I think they all knew that give it a few weeks, this will die down, and certainly it has, and I think a lot of the calmer heads have prevailed, sort of thing. But he does kind of reinforce one of the things that we always thought. You know, when the initial backlash happened, said, "Look, we got to get him out of here." Obviously, they're going to now pull Ben Affleck as Batman because of all this negative reaction. And Schnepp, you and I remember once we said on a special, we both said, you don't think Warner Brothers knew this was going to be the reaction? You don't think they knew well in advance there was going to be this? They knew it. And Ben Affleck is sitting here talking about how he said it. It's really cool how he talks about how the script that Terrio was given. Look, I actually have a lot of hope for this film. I think it's going to be great. Terrio is just one of the reasons. I have always maintained I thought Affleck was a brilliant choice getting to be in it. Everything else I've seen so far, aside from the Gal Gadot casting, but that's just the one fly on the wedding cake. Everything else I think looks great. Hearing that they totally knew what they were getting into, now looking back all this time later, I think this is very reassuring. That's the magic word here.
Yeah.
I think Ben Affleck's comments are reassuring to people like me who are looking forward to this movie a lot, that look, they've always knew what was going to happen. They were prepared for it, just like they're prepared for what's still to come. So I love these comments. Christian?
I love them as well, and I think the reassuring is the absolute key word. And one of the things that he says was, if I didn't trust my ability in filmmaking, because that is where he is now as an artist. The guy is one of the best directors out there right now.
Yeah.
So when you bring him, and I'll be honest, when I first initially heard that he was cast, my mind went back to Daredevil. My mind went back to places that it probably shouldn't have went to. And I said, no, we don't.
You unconsciously reach for the whiskey bottle.
Yeah, right, yeah. And I was like, no, this is not the right choice. Let him go back to doing the directing. He's so good there. But the more and more time that went on, like you said, I started thinking about what he's doing. These comments reassure me in the fact that he's going to concentrate. His filmmaking brain is going to be thinking about what's going on. He's going to commit. Back in the day, he had his issues with whatever the certain thing. I think he had a gambling problem, whatever it was. There were things that were going on with his life, too. He is focused now. Yeah. He would not jump into this not knowing the fan reaction, plus not knowing that he needs to focus and make this a role. So I love these comments.
Here's the other thing that goes along with what you were just saying right now. As one of the best filmmakers in the business today now, you really get the sense that when he looks at roles now, 7 years ago he looked at roles and thought, what will this role do for me? Now as a filmmaker, he's looking at a plan for a film and saying, what is this going to be as a film, as a whole? And this, this guy who just makes Academy Award-winning films, sat back, looked at their plan for Batman v Superman and went, this is a film I want to be a part of. Once again, reassuring.
Yeah, I think they sat him down. They showed him the Michael Keaton tapes, the Nicolas Cage tapes, the Heath Ledger tapes. all the tapes that all fans got really reactionary about, and then they stuck to their guns, and now they're classics. Or some of them are classics. Some aren't made, but it's like the Heath Ledger one specifically for the modern age was one of those like, Heath Ledger, he's a horrible choice, and now he's the most iconic Joker ever.
Yeah.
I think I feel assured by his comments, but I was with you on the camp of like, hey, look, I think it's a good decision. They wouldn't have decided to have him play Batman. They already obviously know he was Daredevil. It's not like they're walking in with blinders, like, duh, It's like, hey, look, he's gonna knock it out of the park as Batman. And I think all of the advanced stuff that we keep seeing, the pictures, it just is a little bit edges us a little bit closer. I was one of the people who didn't get a chance to see that trailer at San Diego Comic-Con, so put it online already. I want to see it, But I've seen little stills, and it looks awesome. So I'm really excited about the film.
Sorry, one last thing is that it also adds into the fact that we all assume that eventually he's going to get his hands on one of these DC properties as a director.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that that's also him kind of playing with words, saying as a filmmaker, because what he does for his performance as Batman in this movie is going to ultimately lead the direction for whatever film he directs.
Yeah. Now, it should be said, nothing from either Affleck or from Warner Brothers has definitively said Affleck will be directing the next standalone Batman film.
Right.
But just as a little poll here at this table, do any of us doubt that he will?
I think it was in the deal.
I agree. I think it is too. That's not that it's
I think
for
it's
sure.
either Batman or Aquaman. No, it's not.
Never. Oh my God.
All right, what's next?
Godzilla is set to return again. According to reports, the King of the Monsters will hit theaters once again in Godzilla 2 on June 8, 2018, and director Gareth Edwards will return to direct the sequel as well. Edwards first has to get that little Star Wars movie he's directing that will hit AMC theaters on December 16, 2016. Christian, what do you think of the date and Edwards' return?
I give a lot of credit to Warner Brothers for this decision. Granted, it's about 4.5 years until from the one that came out this year until when this comes out. But not only do they know that Star Wars is going to be a priority and it's going to have some heat, but instead of just rushing out a Godzilla movie, they trusted in their director, who has obviously made one of the most successful Godzilla, if not the most successful Godzilla movie of all time. And now they're waiting. This is the guy we want. This is the guy we need. We know that he has his vision for this. So if it's got to be 2018, if that's what it's going to be, and that's the development they're going to put into it, maybe we'll get to see Godzilla fight a little more this time around. That was my biggest concern with the movie, but I do like what Edwards did with the beginning and the end. So I hope to see a full movie that I love in 2018. Yeah,
one of the really neat things too is that I remember a short time ago we did a story about how the CEO of Legendary Pictures. And ultimately, this was probably Legendary's decision.
They're going to move, right?
Yeah.
It's not Warner Brothers.
But when it got announced that Gareth Edwards was going to be directing the first standalone Star Wars film, the CEO of Legendary put out that statement. Remember, it's like, hey, this is awesome that Gareth is doing that, blah, blah, blah. And I completely agree with you. It is really cool to see a studio go, you know what? We are so confident in our director, we're going to wait 4 years before putting out Godzilla because we believe it's that important to have him as the guy in the chair. That's really cool to hear from a studio head, from my point of view. So I love the comment. What do you think?
Yeah, that was Thomas Tull, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think they would have waited, 4 years if he was like, I'm going off to make my own independent crazy film. Would you like? It's called Sparkle Monster. Like what? No, get another director. I don't. Because he's doing Star Wars.
Yeah.
That just adds to his credibility from the director of Godzilla and Star Wars, whatever Boba Fett or whichever one it is, comes Godzilla 2. I'm with you. I want to see more Godzilla. I don't want any more cutaways to a kid, sitting and eating, or any more cutaways to the hospital. I want to see the monsters fight. That was my biggest beef with the Godzilla movie. But comparative to the other Godzilla film by Emmerich, it's a masterpiece.
Yeah.
So,
and when you got Godzilla, it delivered.
Yeah,
and you have
it was great.
And you got to give Edwards credit for that. So
I do.
Yeah.
I would like to see an extended version on Blu-ray or something. Just like, don't cut away. Let me just see that stuff not on a phasey TV. That's just me being like nerdy. So whatever. I think it's a great decision to wait 4.5 years.
All right, folks, we reached that part of the show for Mailbag. Listen, if you've got a topic or a question, no, it's not Mailbag, it's Buy or Sell.
Buy or sell.
This is how Buy and Sell works. I'm getting way ahead of myself. In front of her, Ashley's got a few other items from the world of movie news. She's going to run them down, and then those of us at the table are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Ashley, put away the Mailbag notes. Don't let me throw you off.
All right.
What do we got in Buy or Sell?
This next story contains a small spoiler for Guardians of the Galaxy, so if you don't want to know anything about the film, please mute the video for a few minutes. Okay, ready? Marvel Studios has decided to release the final shot of the movie online for the public to see. The scene is that of Dancing Groot. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. Director James Gunn also revealed that the Dancing Groot wasn't actually Vin Diesel. He said the following: "Baby Groot dancing is 100% me. I was too embarrassed for anyone to be there, so I made everyone leave the room and I set up a camera and I videotaped myself dancing. Then I sent the video to the animators and had them animate over that." Should not buy or sell Marvel publicly releasing the scene and Gunn's comments.
I 100% buy it. I think, it's great that he infused himself even more into the very ending bit. Like, he picked all the sound. He picked the soundtrack. I'm sure, like, he added that little Baby Groot scene, in the script.
#1 album right now on iTunes.
Wow.
By the way. Yeah.
Is it really? Wow.
Yeah.
So, for him to infuse himself into it is great, and taking credit for it, he should. It was a great little added bonus scene. Everyone laughed. It made everyone feel good at the very end. It was one of those added extra scenes that was fun. It just added a little extra element to the overall film. So I buy it.
Yeah, I've got to buy this too, and I remember thinking, like, did Vin Diesel actually do the Dancing Baby Groot? And to hear that Gunn himself did it, I can just see James doing that. I can just see him in a room alone, looking around, making sure the doors closed, and doing the dance. And the dance is great. The one mistake, I will say, the one mistake that Marvel and Disney did with this is that they did not do what they did with Frozen. About 2 weeks before Frozen came out, they released online that Let It Go scene, that the entire song, they put that online. And I'm going to say, I think as much as anything else, not way more than anything else, but as much as anything else, that had a lot to do with the box office success. Everybody saw that video that they released publicly. Yeah, it gave away a big part of the movie, but people ate it up and loved it. I think if they had released this clip 1 week before Guardians of the Galaxy came out in theaters, look, you don't actually know, this doesn't actually tell you anything about the movie.
Right.
They just put that out, that Jackson 5 song playing in the background, this incredibly adorable little tree creature in the pot starting to do its dancing. Drax doing his little turning as he's shining his knife. I think it would have, it made 94. I'm telling you right now, I think the movie would have made 104 if they had released this. So I buy it completely. My one thing, though, is I wish they had actually put it out 1 week before. Anyway, Christian, what do you think?
Well, I'm going to buy Gunn's comments because it shows and what he did ultimately with the dancing, because it shows how invested he was and how much he loved it and he put all his heart and soul into it. And I love that he did that. Everything he said, I buy. I'm actually selling that they're releasing this. And I got to tell you, John, I disagree with the statement of the Frozen comparison, because Frozen wasn't a property anybody knew. It wasn't really a property. And the Guardians, the comic book wasn't either, but Marvel was a property. So in Marvel, all this stuff, I think the reason this did so well was obviously because of Marvel and because of the sci-fi element. We've talked about that before too. I don't necessarily know if playing this clip would have helped, because people were worried about the goofiness of how goofy it was going to be, and it had a lot of serious elements as well that made it so cool. It was the combination of all of that. This particular clip could have, I think, maybe steered people away from it if they just put that in there. People seeing this now, I don't know if it needs to be released now, because I think the movie itself speaks for itself. Wait for the Blu-ray, then see it. I don't know what it does by releasing. It's an amazing, cute scene, but I don't know. It's just
I will say this: I found out about this being released by an ex-girlfriend who I still we're still friendly with. An ex-girlfriend emailing me from Canada, saying, "Have you seen this?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's from the movie." "Oh my God, I got to go see this." I think there would have been a lot of people that would have been like that. I mean, that's just one example. Maybe there were a million others that would side with you on that.
Well, maybe this is a secondary advertising release strategy. Like,
Yeah,
now let's get
exactly.
all I saw a cute dancing tree. Let's go see it.
Now that we get all this word of mouth out there,
Yeah.
but people who didn't go to see it the first 2 weeks that
And
are
hearing
still on the
great
cusp,
things.
maybe
Right.
now,
Right.
Yeah.
maybe
No,
now
it's
it'll be
true.
pushed. All right, what's next?
The website Indie Revolver is reporting that this image is the new look at the Imperial Stormtrooper and Snowtrooper. It appears to be a slightly updated look in both cases. John, buy or sell that these images are indeed real, and if you like them.
Oddly enough, although there's nothing confirming it, I'm actually going to buy that these are real. There was another site, and I'm forgetting what the site was, that released another picture of an alleged, this is what the new helmet looks like, and it was the exact same one.
Really?
Yeah.
So as of right now, I'm going to buy it, and also because the style fits. Look, some people, I heard one friend of mine say this morning, it's way too different from the original one. really? They put out a new iPhone every year,
Right.
and they change the look all the time, every year. This is like 30 years later. You don't think they would have updated this look a little bit? And in general, I like it. I still think it's pretty true to the original designs. It still is clearly a stormtrooper, and it's still clearly a snowtrooper, if it is indeed a snowtrooper, and maybe not. I kind of thought those were desert dunes in the background. I mean, they could be snowdrifts, but whatever. I like them, so I do believe, although there's nothing confirming it, that they're real, and I like them. Schnepp, what do you think?
I love them. I mean, they really ring with a Macquarie type of
Yeah,
design
yeah,
sensibility.
yeah.
Like, if you go down to the bottom, that snowtrooper, it feels like it's kind of ripped out of his original drawings. It has the Joe Johnson kind of storyboard graphite
Yes.
look to it. The stormtrooper at the top, I actually really do like it, but it has a little bit of a Tronish feel to me.
It does.
Just
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah, I didn't see that before, but now I do, yeah.
And I'm not hating on it. I'm just saying it's really interesting. And to me, it piqued my interest when I saw that. I was like, wow, if these are real, I can't wait to see the rest of the designs because this looks really cool. So,
And what we didn't mention in the story either, remember in all the prequels, the stormtroopers were all CG. There was not one physical costume of stormtroopers. It was all CG. These now, they've obviously gone back to the practical physical costumes.
I love them. I do think that I actually agree with you. I think that they are real, and I think the reason why I think that they're leaked on purpose. I think that
I agree.
I think that they want to show this. There's been a lot. Remember, and I think that it was when we were doing Jedi Council. I said, I'm telling you that I think that Gwendolyn Christie was going to play a stormtrooper gone rogue, and the fact now we're seeing them more. And I love the fact that from what this says is, the Empire just didn't die off by a couple of Ewoks blowing up the Death Star. So I love it. And going back to the Macquarie thing, this goes back to a lot of the rumors they were talking about with Macquarie. Rebels is all the artwork coming up for Rebels, the new series, based off a lot of Macquarie design.
For real?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they do. They are focusing very heavily on those original designs. So when you see this, you go, oh yeah, I love, going back off your point with the original helmet, I love 30 years later, going from the prequels, you had the clone troopers, they don't look the same. 30 years later, you got the updated one that we know.
Good
30
point.
years later, now we have this. This is awesome, looks good. By the way, maybe these things don't get shot through so easily like they did in the original trilogy.
maybe they have better aim as well.
And I know you said the snowtrooper, that guy on the bottom there's rumors they're going back to Hoth. If that's the case, let's put him back
That
in
makes
Hoth.
sense.
Yeah.
You know, and it's funny because that has always been one of the big questions from Star Wars fans. It's like, okay, stormtroopers wear all this armor, but one shot drops them, right? The only explanation I've ever heard from it comes from, this is the geek part of me, comes from the Star Wars role-playing game, in which it suggested that the armor is actually for physical, like being hit by a rock or being hit by people trying to physically assault you. Not so good against blaster
What
thing.
happened in Return of the Jedi? Then?
I know. So not such a good explanation. All right, folks, we've reached that part. Now we've reached that part of the show for Mailbag. Listen, if you've got a topic or a question you'd like us to address on the show, you can email us anytime at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. We're going to save a few minutes at the end of the show to take some live questions from you guys as well. So if you're watching us live, you can start tweeting in some questions to @AMC Movie News. But for now, we're going to get to the mailbag questions. So, Ashley, what do we got?
Noy writes, "Hi AMC, great show, very informative." Now, John C. said that comic book readers only make up 1% of the movie-going audience. How about those who read the book first? Because I always hear when I see a plot hole or something to read the book. Are they a super minority too, or a larger group of people? Because the snobbiness irritates me. Thanks, and bring on the filthy. It's the best filthy.
It is the best of all the filthies. That's a really great question. I think it depends on the book. I think there are some books that your audience will have a higher percentage of the thing. Like, let's look at the Tom Hanks Da Vinci Code.
Right, Harry Potter.
That Harry Potter, there was an awful lot. I mean, still not breaching the 10% thing, but probably a lot more significant than those who read the comic books. I actually personally have a rule. If a movie is coming out and is based on a book, and I know the movie's coming out about 2 or 3 years, I have a rule. I will not read the book. Because I want to watch the movie and take the movie for as it chooses to present itself. I don't want to read the book and then form my own ideas about what the movie is supposed to be. And that's just for me. And I did that with Hunger Games, and I'm really glad that I did. So yeah, that's just the way I see it. Christian, what about you?
I'm under the same philosophy with you sometimes with the book, but like with the example of Hunger Games and Harry Potter, I did read the books because I wanted to first see what all the hype was about as well,
Right,
but I
yeah,
also
that
wanted
makes sense.
to envision it in my brain, and sometimes I like to see how much the filmmaker actually, and you can that opens yourself up to disappointment a lot of times too.
Oh, yeah.
But sometimes, for Catching Fire was my favorite book out of the Hunger Games, and it delivered. But as far as the percentage question goes, though, I think it's a high, like closer to the 10% of book readers because there's a little more coverage on it, I think, in mainstream media about books more so than there is in comics a lot of the times. So I think that's why the percentage might be higher.
Strap?
Yeah, I think it differs with every single kind of genre of books as
True,
well. I
yeah.
think the snobbier, the nerd, it could be more in the sci-fi realm. I mean, I can't believe you didn't read Dune. These giant tomes where you're like, I don't want to read 7,000 pages of sand, dust, people, things. I remember that happened to me when I was in high school. I started reading Dune. I was like, I can't get through it. The spice is ruining my mind, But I loved David Lynch's Dune.
Yeah.
I really did. So it was like one of these, things that, so I think the snobbery part, you have to just, take that edge that off. It's really, I think it's people who read the book experience it in a totally different way than you will because you didn't read the book, so you didn't envision the situations. That's what books are great about. They let you see it in your mind as you're reading it. And comic books that's why comic books and books are totally different. Like I always have this argument with people. It's like a comic book isn't just you can't just adapt it like, oh, it's a storyboard, just use that. It's a different medium.
Right.
It's told in a different way. It's paced in a totally different way, just like books. So I don't know. I wouldn't worry about somebody saying the plot hole or read the book. Just make up your own decision, I would say.
Agreed. All right, what's next?
Bryce Spivey writes, hey AMC, unbelievable work you guys do. All my movie news is from AMC and can't get enough. I was wondering how come certain movie stars hit big for a little while and all of a sudden they die down and you hardly hear from them at all. For example, Josh Hartnett, Hilary Swank, or Cuba Gooding Jr., these actors were on fire. What happened?
That's a great question. I mean, sometimes you get examples where one of the most interesting things to me, Hilary Swank, she didn't just pop up and suddenly just disappear. She was around for a bit.
Right.
She has multiple Academy Award nominations. Josh Hartnett, I'm going to say I think people caught on that he was not as talented as maybe people first thought he was, and I think that kind of became apparent. But Cuba Gooding Jr. to me is really the most interesting one because I think he is as talented as he first looked like he was. But for whatever reason, the great roles just didn't come his way. He had a couple of great roles, and he scored with them, and then what was that one? Something about the dogs, and then he
Snow
did
Dogs.
Snow Dogs, and
Boat
then he
Trip,
did that
Boat
one
Trip.
with Roger Moore, Boat Trip. He made some horrible,
Yeah.
Right.
horrible decisions with his career, whether it's him or his agent's fault or whatever.
Right.
Makes him just terrible. So I think with each one of these three, and there are dozens we could talk about,
Right.
but it's very interesting because for each one of these three, I kind of think the reasons would be different. So I don't know that there's any one covering principle that says why some actors hit it big for a short window and then disappear. One of the big ones to me, though, that I've always wondered about is Julia Ormond. Because back in the 90s, there was a period of window where she was the new Julia Roberts. She was the it girl.
Legends of the Fall.
Legend of the Fall, First Night, the one she did with Harrison Ford and Greg Kinnear. Sabrina, which I love. One of the rare instances where the remake I thought was actually even better than the original. Like, she could do no wrong. She was just the darling.
Right.
And then disappeared.
Yeah.
Gone. Didn't fade out, just gone, just disappeared. That was one of the really weird ones. Hey, Christian, what about you?
I think that in the case of Julia Ormond, and I don't know this for a fact, sometimes what happens to actors is they decide that they want to go off and, like, let's say Phoebe Cates, right? Phoebe Cates went off, had a family.
Yep.
Sometimes they leave the business, and that is the key word here. It's a business, and just like any other business, it's about the choices that you make. Cuba Gooding Jr. and sometimes these actors will go, well, they'll hit something big if you go with the Oscar he won, and then they go, now I get paid. Be careful what the devil offers you.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
because sometimes you go after the boat trips and think that's going to be the comedy. They all love me now. They love me,
Right.
and your head gets a little big, and then they don't love you because that movie stinks. And then Hilary Swank is another one. She did like The Reaping and some other things, and she lucked back into $1 Million Baby, and then she did like the Gerard Butler romantic comedies, and she's not a romantic comedy star. So there's choices that you make. And Josh Hartnett, yes, not the best actor, but could deliver sometimes a Black Hawk Down. But again, choices that he made. He did a horrible movie with Harrison Ford.
That
comedy.
movie,
horrible.
yeah.
So it really is about choices, and it's also about expanding. Look at someone like Mark Wahlberg. Why has he been in the spotlight so long?
Yeah.
Because he produces, he gets his hands in other things, and he's able then to throw himself. He's got a marketable name. He is a brand. So it's a business, man.
Yeah, it's also overexposure. Like
Yeah.
sometimes, like someone like Cuba Gooding Jr., he's been in the business, he's been playing supporting characters, and then he gets that Oscar. Then he's in like 8 films, and people are like, and he picked the wrong films to be in. Now he's the master of Hulu Plus. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
he's just like the bottom of the barrel. Like, if 5 movies get shot in Bulgaria, he's in them. It's like that happens to actors because they overproduce. They're like, it's been such a long dry spell that when they hit it big, they want to get those movie roles in, so they book 10 movies a year. And then they get this overexposure where I remember it happened with me and Jim Carrey. Like me and Jim Carrey were pals.
Yeah.
Just seeing him on billboards everywhere. I think it was Irene, whatever that one was.
Me, myself,
For
and
some
Irene.
reason, I hit that super saturation point where I was like, I don't want to see him anymore. And
Yeah.
it didn't even matter if the movie was good. It was just like, because he was in so much stuff, you just get oversaturated. So a lot of actors will take a break on purpose. Like, look, I just was in 5 movies. I'm going to drop off for like 3 years and pop back on in an explosive, awesome role. Or I'll wait till the right role hits me. It's like a Salieri wins the Oscar, then he's in like 18 movies, and what happened to his career. So it's like a lot of these, it's roll of the die too. Like a lot of actors are like, I'm just a tool, use me, I'll be in whatever film. A lot of people just have the actors have their own way of doing things. Josh Hartnett took a break willingly, decided like, I'm not going to do movies, I'm going to drop out, and for 7.5 years, I'm going to live and hang out with just my friends. Yeah. So that's what I read recently.
Now he's on TV, yeah.
That's what I mean. He's like, I'm going to come back. But he made a conscious decision, whether the roles he was taking were good or bad. He was like, look, I just want out.
Yeah.
I'm just going to chill and do what I want for like as many years as I want to, and then eventually I'll come back because I know I have open doors because I am a good actor. I believe in myself, and other people believe in me. So it really depends. Like, that's a really good 3 different kinds of people, kinds of roles that their careers have taken, and the ups and downs. It's definitely like a great choice to look at how this plays out. But it definitely, it's like it's a really weird game. This entire thing. Making movies.
All right, what's next?
RDM Oric writes, "Hi guys, love your show. There are 2 major video games that are influenced by Indiana Jones, Tomb Raider and the Uncharted, and it looks like both are going to have movie adaptations in the upcoming years. Which one of them do you anticipate more?"
Oddly enough, everybody's going to be shocked that I'm going to say this. I'm more looking forward to the Tomb Raider one. Don't get me wrong, I'm looking forward to Uncharted. I really, really am, very, very much. But I'm ever since I saw the first Tomb Raider, I thought, there's some rich stuff here. You could do this differently and make it really awesome. And now with the relaunch of they've rebooted the video game series, and it's incredible. I just think there's so much there you can do, and I gotta admit, I'm kind of digging the idea of a female-led action adventure kind of thing too. I think Lara Croft is a really great, rich character. There's a lot you can do with her. Love them both. Really looking forward to both of them. But I got to give the edge to Tomb Raider, Christian.
I'm looking forward to both of them, but I'm going to give the edge to Uncharted just because I've seen them do a version of Tomb Raider before.
Right,
There's no version of Uncharted yet. This could be the next Indiana Jones from the video game series and from the rumors of people that they have cast in it. It could be a lot of fun, and you have a director. This could be the first video game movie. I don't know how Assassin's Creed is going to be. That could be cool too.
Yeah.
But we might finally get a good video game movie. And this
Warcraft.
Right.
Yeah.
There are a lot of movies that coming out down the pipeline that have hope, and I think Uncharted really could be one of those because of how rich the character of Drake is and what we could do with him, and it's such a good role for an actor. I'm excited to see that hit the screen for the first time, and Tomb Raider could be fun. I agree with all the points you made. I just would rather see one I haven't seen yet.
Right.
Also, Uncharted is so cinematic.
It really is.
Yeah,
It was one of those games where I felt like I was playing a movie. Like, I'm like, how are they doing this? Like, kind of blown away by the technology of the gameplay. So I think it's ripe for a movie exploitation and taking that to the cinematic level. I agree. I'd rather see Uncharted, but I'm cool with seeing a new Tomb Raider. I mean, I wasn't a big fan of either of the 2 Tomb Raiders. I thought they were okay. But yeah, I think seeing a really, at best, a really well done like female Indiana Jones would be awesome. So I have hopes for both of them, to be honest.
All right, folks, so I said we'd leave a couple minutes at the end for your questions on Twitter, and we are almost out of time, so we're going to rapid fire through a couple of them here. But I'm going to remind you guys, let you guys know about something. AMC Movie Talk, we are nominated for the Geeky Awards this weekend. The annual Geeky Awards are happening this weekend in Hollywood, California. We are nominated for Best Podcast and Vlog against some really great shows as well. If you live in LA, you can still buy tickets. Go to thegeekyawards.com. There are tickets available. But if you don't live in LA and you want to watch, you can watch them live at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on twitch.tv/thegeekyawards. So you can tune in and see how we do at the awards this year. That being said, let's rapid fire really quickly through a couple of Twitter questions.
Joe Kemfoss writes, what is your favorite bit of casting in an otherwise bad movie?
Oh, that's a great question. I'm going to pass because I think there's a video we can just make just talking about that. Great bit of casting in a bad movie. That's Sean Connery in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Ooh, that's good.
I mean, I could say Christoph Waltz in Green Hornet.
Or Christoph Waltz in The Three Musketeers.
Right.
I'll say Clive Owen in that weird action film. Pick one.
Shoot 'em up.
Yeah, shoot 'em up.
I
Yeah,
actually kind
thank
of like
you.
Shoot 'em up. All right, what's next?
Bugs Bunny.
Nathaniel D. Hulme writes, did you hear about the title change of Edge of Tomorrow to Live, Die, Repeat?
No. They did not change the title of the movie. That the cover just says the Blu-ray cover just says Live, Die, Repeat.
Right.
At the bottom it mentions Edge of Tomorrow. That's just art for they did not change the
They
title.
should
of
have
the movie.
changed it to Live, Die, Repeat.
They
That's
should
a
have
better-
never changed it from All You Need Is Kill.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Christopher Robles writes, are there any films for the rest of this year and 2015 that you think are flying under the radar?
I mean,
Probably lots of them, but this one I'd have to sit
Yeah.
down and look at my list for.
I would say Captain Sulu is the one that they should be making right now.
oh my.
Captain
let's get a
Sulu
movie
and the
done.
USS Excelsior.
Yes,
The
I would
Adventures
love to
of
see that
Excelsior.
movie immediately.
Oh, let's make it happen.
Can we please make it happen?
Does anybody have a funnier Facebook page than George
He's
Takei?
so awesome.
Isn't he great?
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
I Am Groot writes, what is your favorite director cameo in a movie?
Oh, Peter Jackson did a couple of really funny ones in his Lord of the Rings
Yeah.
films. I really like those.
Yeah, me too. I mean, so, I don't know if it's Tarantino's the ones that he pops in more like little roles he gives himself. Sometimes it's so cringeworthy.
When he's not trying to do an Australian accent, I will
But
agree.
even that to me, sometimes I'm just like, oh, what's he gonna try to do now? Like, it's-
Why is that scene so long?
Right,
Yeah.
right. It's kooky. It's kooky.
For me, it's not even in his own movies, but when David Cronenberg plays a character, like he plays the creepy killer in Give me a minute. Go to the next question. I'll remember.
Wait,
what this is.
I'm going to mention one. It's not a film that he himself directed, but he's a
Right.
director. And it's not even a cameo; it's a role. But my favorite thing of a director popping up in a
Wait,
movie,
Nightbreed. Sorry, I just remembered it. Go ahead.
Werner Herzog, in that poker movie he did with Dennis Fiera and Farina and and the guy who plays Woody Harrelson. What's the name of that movie? Where he says, "What's the secret to your energy?" Every day I have to kill one living thing with my bare hands as he's petting a rabbit. I'm trying to remember the name of the movie. Guys in the chat board, if you remember the name of that poker movie, I'm thinking about going in there and leave the title. Okay, last question of the day.
Mel Brooks had good ones too.
Oh yeah, he really
Tyler
did.
Clark writes, hey, love the show. What's a good movie for a 13-year-old boy to take his mother to go see? Her favorite movie is When Harry Met Sally.
Basic Instinct.
Yeah, I was
No.
gonna say Natural Born Killers. Yeah.
13-year-old to take his mother to go see?
Oh, take him to go see Rambo 5.
Well, that's in theaters right now.
No, I'm just saying. Come on, Arnold.
What you planned this time? You wanted to do this, but cut it out.
Expendables 4.
Go see our movie. It's in theaters right now. Come on.
Expendables 3, go see the movie.
Honestly, I'd say Guardians of the Galaxy right now. For what's in theaters right now,
Yes.
that's a really good one to take.
It's a
to
fun
go
one.
to.
That's got a good vibe, and maybe Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Maybe if you want to see it as a kid, and your mom could have some fun with it. I don't know.
You know what? I actually went to go see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles a second time.
Yeah?
I still think it's okay.
I gotta go see it.
I still think it's okay.
I gotta break free and see that movie.
All right, folks, that'll do it for us. We got a little bit over time. Thank you so much for joining us today for AMC Movie Talk. Listen, don't forget, lots of great films playing in AMC theaters right now. Head on over to www.amctheaters.com for your theater, showtime, and your movie ticket information. If you want an audio-only version of this episode, look in the description of this video, and you'll find links to our podcast feed, so you can listen to us on the way to work or at the gym or whatever you'd like to do. And don't forget, click the thumbs up button, click subscribe. I want to thank the guys sitting at the table with me. First of all, sitting to my immediate right, of course, is Mr. Christian Harloff. Christian, where can people find you online?
It's very easy. Just my name, Christian Harloff, at either Instagram or Twitter.
Right beside him, of course, Mr. John Schnepp, who will be at the Geeky Awards on Sunday night.
Yes.
John, where can people find you?
Twitter and Instagram at John Schnepp, and supportsupermanlives.com if you want to help me with my film.
And our lovely host today, Miss Ashley Mova. Ashley, where can people find you online?
Twitter, Instagram at Ashley Mova. Happy Friday, guys.
And well, now it is a happy Friday. And of course, you can follow me on all the various social media networks, just at John Campea. Thanks a lot for joining us, guys. My name is John Campea for AMC Movie Talk, and until next time, bye-bye.
Hey everyone, if you liked this video, click that thumbs up button and make sure to subscribe to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It's free and helps you stay up to date with all the latest movie news, as well as our daily AMC Movie Talk show. Also, make sure that you follow us on Facebook and Twitter to stay up to date with all of our special promotions, contests, and prize giveaways.